I love all the friendship and networking opportunities that the Rec Center has to offer, whether that being just making a secret handshake with my friends.
I think of all the places to work on campus, this is definitely one of the best.
Whether it's the actual employees at the Rec Center or just everyone that I get to interact with on a day-to-day basis. I've made some of my closest friends through this job.
I feel like I'm close with everybody that works here, no matter what department.
The Wellness Ambassadors implement a bunch of different types of wellness into our programming, whether that be physical wellness, emotional wellness, social wellness. When it comes to the implementation of these dimensions of wellness, one of the ones that we focus on is emotional wellness. And some of our programs include pet therapy, rock painting for students, just things to improve the emotional well-being of the OU community. When it comes to our physical wellness dimension, we do a lot of nutrition coaching as well as just some sleep habit coaching. Oftentimes we work to promote the Group X classes that the Rec Center has to offer as well. One thing that I love to focus on is public speaking, and my boss granted me that opportunity to speak to some classes and talk about the Green Bandana Project and other mental health initiatives that the Rec Center has to offer. The Green Bandana Project really does a great job of bridging that gap between the OU community and OU services that are focused towards mental health. It's a great opportunity to not only increase your resume, but also to improve some friendships, just create lasting bonds that you can carry out throughout your life.
Day-to-day is back in the office, I would say. I work on my laptop a lot, but it's all creative work. So any posters, flyers, handouts that the Rec Center you see on campus and in the Rec Center, anything print, and then also on social media, all those posts that you see on OU Recwell's at OU Recwell Instagram, that comes from me. So we use Adobe Illustrator a lot, Photoshop, InDesign. We use all the Adobe Cloud. I have a great mentor who works with me as well on design guidelines and what we're kind of looking for the project. Definitely you have direct one-on-ones with your mentor or supervisor, and I've learned so much about the graphic design field. In my opinion, this is more of a professional setting, so I've gotten things to put on my resume, and I've gained so much experience firsthand seeing and hearing from them and their advice. You will grow so much as a graphic designer working in this position. From I started 2 years ago to where my design skills are now, I've learned so much.
So typical day to day for me while I'm working on shift is about every hour I have to do a shift count where I go around and I check to see how many people are on the south fields, the north fields, stadium fields, tennis courts, and the fire pit. I also have to make sure I'm monitoring trashes, make sure everyone is doing what they're supposed to be doing on the fields, making sure that everyone on the fields is supposed to be on the fields with a reservation. Currently now, since it's in the fall, we're doing a drop-in times on weekdays. I have to make sure on weekdays that people who do not have reservations are on the specific field for the drop time. They allow for you to do schoolwork, but also when you're at work, you still have to do your job. But the thing is that when everything's all good and you have some downtime, either like you already checked everything's all clean, everything, you have the opportunity to do schoolwork, which I think is great because of the fact it allows you to keep track of what you're doing in school and not fall behind. So for this job, I would say leadership is a huge one. You have to be able to do things on your own. That is part of the job, is actually being out here, is resolving situations and conflicts by yourself. Unless they get to an extreme point, then you have to call somebody else. You have to be able to be assertive with certain situations where if someone is on the field and they cannot be and they are refusing to, you have to make sure you stand your ground and be assertive and really be confident in yourself that you are doing your job correctly.
So whenever I come into work, I set up the courts or the fields or whatever, and then we get into just officiating the sport that we are doing. Soccer, basketball, flag football, volleyball are big ones. Being an official has taught me a lot about the kinds of things that I value, but it's also kind of trained me for anything that I want in my career because it really highlights your communication skills. You have to know how to communicate with your coworkers in explaining a call that you made so that they can understand your perspective. You have to be able to communicate with participants to explain the call because they don't always agree with it. The entire Recwell Sports Department is a very collaborative group. Between all the supervisors, we're all friends. We all feel comfortable coming to each other with questions or asking advice or giving advice. Because of my experience working as an official, I actually was promoted the following year into a supervisor. And with that, I was promoted into a program assistant, which is the person who trains officials for all of our sports. And they also deal with club sports.
So at Member Services, Pretty much, there's two positions, ID check and memberships. On memberships, you sell products or memberships or day passes. And on ID check, you check people in, make sure nobody's getting in without a valid membership or day pass. Also, you have to answer customer questions if they have any questions about memberships or about the facility or anything related to the facility, or even outside of the facility if they're asking questions related to athletics, you can help them with that as well. I get mentored by my supervisors. I'm able to learn a lot. There were some things that I was working on, like patience. I was able to work on that. And you get to work with pretty much your friends. So it's gonna be a really good time.
So typically as a manager, we go around, we do occupancy counts so people know who's in the building. We also do spot cleaning to make sure that the building remains intact and presentable for our patrons. And we also respond to necessary codes on a walkie. This position helps me develop more people skills. I have to talk to pretty much everybody in the building. The rec works around my class schedule, and school is very important. I think that the hours are flexible and it makes coming here more exciting.
It's a lot of scheduling with clients. There's a lot of communication that you have to do with text or email with clients to try to figure out what times work. And then after that, it's just about coming in here, finding a time that works, meeting with them, and then getting the session done. So usually it'll just be a couple hours a day. And the very nice part about it is it's really easy to fit that in between classes and stuff. So in any given day, I might go to 2 or 3 classes and then have a different job or something and then still be able to fit in during my little bit of free time, like a client or two, and that's really nice. It's giving me a lot of extra leadership skills. It's putting me in control of people's success in a lot of different fields, and I feel like that's something that can definitely help me down the road.
Well, I'm very passionate about fitness. I love the environment here, so it was very easy for me to get accustomed to this job. Cleaning, monitoring the fitness center, spotting people, whoever needs spotting, just being out there for people, being helpful. Communication is probably the biggest one that I've developed, and getting out of my comfort zone. For example, I would not be willing to be interviewed, answer questions in front of a camera, but now it's easy for me. Even when I first started working here, I couldn't even talk in front of like 2 or 3 people, but 20 or 30 seemed the same amount.
So when I'm working, it's nothing too serious. You're just up on the stand for 30 minutes and then you're down in the guard office for 30 minutes and you just have to keep watch over the pool, and then at the end of a shift do checks of the chemicals and just pick up anything that's laying around the pool deck. I definitely think that being a lifeguard, you develop a lot of interpersonal skills. We have our regular people that come in every day and they do their swims, so you get to build relationships with people that you wouldn't build a relationship with outside of work. The easiest way to get certified is going onto the American Red Cross website and looking for lifeguard certification courses. In terms of getting a job while you're in school, this is probably the best possible option you could do because it pays well. It's right on campus. If you live on campus, you don't have to commute far, or even if you do commute, you can just work after your classes.
I love working at the rec center. I love the people here, and it's such a great place to start your journey in your career.
I really enjoy the community and being able to stay more involved with being at OU.
I just thought it was gonna be just a desk job and just to pay my weekly bills or whatever. But it changed my life a lot.
There's so many people who come into our facility, and it's always nice to see new faces all the time.